Welcome to the Spirits, Angels, and Guides Oh My podcast,
where the supernatural gets real, baby.
Hey, Spirit Gang. I'm your host, Nancy Brady.
And I'm Diana.
And we have a podcast for you today. Tara has been doing some digging, and it's, as she would say, a whole lot.
And make sure you stay to the end, because if you're in our Patreon, we have a reading for someone at the very end. So make sure you stay. Nan, this is a whole lot. It really is. And I have been a good girl, and I've been doing some research.
Right.
Not my forte. We've put it out there a few times. Tara likes the easy way. Spirit tells her, and she just kind of does it. But this is really interesting. So I want to talk about spiritual cults.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. So why do I want to talk about them, though? I think that's important that we preface what I'm going to get into about why, as two ethical mediums, authentically ethical mediums, that we would want to talk about this. It is because how do I say this? There are so many people out there doing the work, calling themselves mediums, calling themselves spiritual mentors, calling themselves all energy gurus, all sorts of things. And I'm seeing so much weirdness coming out of these social media platforms. TikTok is the worst for it. Instagram is pretty much right up there. And so there's people that are falling into these traps. And you and I, Nan, have had to work through other people's readings to assist someone who's like, hey, I had this reading and wow, I'm feeling really unsettled. And, people don't always take every reading with ease, right? They don't always take the messages. A lot of people, if they don't get what they want to hear, they'll dismiss it or call a reader out on it, whatnot. But we have had to assist people in working through other people's readings, just like maybe someone had to do that for us. I don't know. I can't see it. I don't feel it, but maybe. My point being, though, is that when I was thinking about this, as most of you know, I had surgery, so I was laying up on TikTok for hours and hours and days. I was starting to look into a few different things, and the idea of spirituality and people following people, just with no care in the world. I just know this is my guru. I know this is my spiritual teacher, my mentor. I'm going to follow this person bar none, even when they are doing unethical and really shady manipulative things, brought me to a little bit of a Google search. And I was like, okay, what is a spiritual cult? Now, the ones that came up actually surprised me a bit, because I never felt them as necessarily spiritual, because I sit in this spiritual space. I have an idea of what spirituality is. It's working to be of service. It's working in the love and light, etc., etc. But all of these ones, and you're going to recognize most of these. And if you are in our Patreon, I have done a whole deep dive into a whole list of them that I'm going to put up there. It will drop today when this drops. So if you're in Patreon, go check that out. But it was really interesting how they worked, how these charismatic individuals drew people in and really isolated and manipulated and took away from, so that the individuals, the followers, were just literally sitting in this little communal kind of living place where there was this leader that was larger than life. And I want to see what a definition of a cult leader is. So let's start with that. What is a cult leader? So in the spiritual and metaphysical context, these individuals often present themselves as enlightened or possessing unique insights into the universe. So stay with me, everyone. You're going to see why I thought this was important as being ethical mediums, why I'm bringing this stuff up. They attract followers through charisma and promise transformative experiences. Okay, so what do we do, though? We're not just reading people one-on-one. We are saying, hey, we have a tool. Spirit works with us to help you become a better person. I was like, oh, sweet doodles. What is going on here? But it's true. Mentors, anyone that's doing mentorship, anyone that's teaching any classes on energy work, mediumship, tarot, any of those things, we are saying we have tools to help you move into the next stages of your lives. We're just not saying we just want to, take over your life. So here are some characteristics of a cult leader. Charismatic personality. They often have a magnetic presence that draws people in. Perfect example, guys, David Koresh of the Branch Davidians. I think people will remember Waco, Texas, baby. That was a whole lot of like shenanigans. That was bad on all ends. That was just awful.
Mhm.
David Koresh used his charisma to attract followers claiming to have divine insights into the biblical apocalypse. You're going to see a lot of organized religion mixed in with cray cray. Okay, let's just put that there then. Um, Fostering a deep sense of loyalty among his adherents. Psychological manipulative tactics. Scientology. I said it. I said it with my full
Yeah,
chest.
she went there.
Yeah, and we're going to go there in a big way in a minute. So, psychological manipulative tactics. Cult leaders might use emotional manipulation or fear to maintain control. The Unification Church, founded by Sun Myung Moon, they're called Moonies. How can you even be taken seriously if you call yourself a Moonie? Anyway, employed intensive recruitment methods that included, so does the Church of Scientology, that included isolating new members from their families and intensively promoting group cohesion. So again, these are groups that you come in, you become a part of them, and then they kind of isolate you from everyone else. Oh, you don't need them, right? Again, it gave me the feel, gave me the little bit of the when we talk about finding your tribe, finding your pod, make sure you're working with the people you want to work with. I want to associate. I want to show the difference between looking and being in your power and letting someone else be in your power. Dogmatic teachings. They may present their beliefs as the sole truth, discouraging questioning or dissent. Okay? So we are beautiful. Yeah, we are, baby. We are beautiful. But we are beautiful in terms of, Nan, the ability to say, take what resonates and leave the rest. You don't have to
Yeah.
trust us.
That's a big difference. Big difference.
You don't have to trust us. Trust spirit, but we're just the messenger. If it doesn't resonate, walk away. Walk away. Okay. And isolation. They often encourage followers to distance themselves from family, friends outside the group. So I got nothing for that because we are like so engaging and encouraging people to come and join the community and the metaphysical world that I don't see nothing bad with that whatsoever. So we is good that way. So what leads to the downfall of these kinds of temples and churches and organizations and things like that? Because cult leaders can seem invincible, their downfalls often reveal like critical vulnerabilities. Like David Koresh, he was a hot mess. I watched a whole documentary on him. It was on Netflix, and he was like, it was all about like, I need to be the only thing that you can imagine because I am the prophet. I'm the Messiah. Charles Manson, another one. He's not in this particular podcast, but I do have him on that list in Patreon. You got to go read a little bit about him. If you haven't read that book, Helter Skelter, I highly recommend it. I've read it like 10 times over the years. It's such a good book.
One
And so they're vulnerable.
true crime books that I read.
Yeah, yeah. It was Vince. I can't remember his name anymore, but it was by the prosecutor who prosecuted them all. And it was such a good book. Excuse me, pardon me. Okay. So their vulnerabilities are really what brings them down. So let's explore a few common circumstances that led to their collapse. Legal issues. Many cults face legal scrutiny due to unethical practices or financial fraud because a lot of them they take your stuff. They take everything, all your personal belongings, all your material possessions. They take them from you. And they're like, "Well, these are now mine and we're going to share them with everyone else." And the interesting thing about that, Nan, is that generally they really don't. They give the bare minimum to the communal living, the community they're living in. They give the bare minimum, and bare minimum, and they hoard the rest. Okay, and they hoard the rest. Internal conflict, discontent among followers can lead to power struggles and ultimately the cult's demise. Okay, absolutely. But then you look at something like the Church of Scientology that's been around since like 1954, right? And they are stronger than ever. They are creepy as fluff, though. Can I just say that?
They also bring like key brand name Hollywood stars in to help pump up the religion, right?
I have dog hair on my lips, baby. Yes, they do. You're right. Tom Cruise, John Travolta, Christy Alley. Um, there's a host of them. I see her last name wrong. I think it's Remney. Leah Remney from King of Queens. And she left. She escaped, but it was an ordeal. And they tried to destroy her with a media campaign. And that's what Church of Scientology does. Public exposure, media attention can bring hidden practices to light, leading to a loss of credibility and crisis of leadership. The death or departure of a leader can leave followers adrift, leading to disbandment. Or, literally, they blow themselves to smithereens. Jim Jones, the People's Temple. David Koresh is another one, the Branch Davidians. Hell's Gate, right? They were waiting for a hit. That
Phrase drinking the Kool-Aid comes from, right?
Jim Jones, absolutely. 900 people died.
Ugh.
900 people. It is the largest non-natural disaster loss of people.
It's crazy.
Right? Absolutely crazy. And the Hell's Gate, remember Hell's Gate? They were all following Hale Bopp, that comet. I do remember that. I shouldn't laugh because 39 people committed suicide, but they were following that comet, babies. They were going wherever that comet was going because of the apocalypse. So these examples include, we just talked about the infamous case of Jim Jones and the People's Temple, where he not only isolated them from their family, he isolated them by taking them out of the country to South America and built the Jonestown. Which of course ended tragically. As I said, his attracted followers were searching for social justice and belonging, especially during the times of the tumultuous Civil War. So they're looking for a place to feel like they belong. He says, okay, well, you want to belong? Come with me. And then let's head out to a whole nother country and do the work, because you can't do it where I am, because somebody's going to know. The downfall of the Raelian movement, and I talk about that a little bit here, which faced significant public scrutiny and internal strife. This movement was based off of a vision of extraterrestrial life and a utopian future, allowing for followers to escape the mundane realities of everyday experience. Escapism, right? Escapism. Don't want to be a part of this. I don't feel I belong here. I don't like what's happening. Where can I go? Well, what is the next best thing? Utopia. I want to live in a world of bliss. And if someone starts spouting that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Easy to draw the vulnerable in. So let's talk about the cult that just keeps on going, though. And I brought it up already. And I said what I said. The Church of Scientology is a mother fluffin' cult. For real. And in my opinion, it is very, very, very close to the practices of spiritualism, metaphysical work. It has a lot of that flavor to it. And I'm going to tell you something super, super quick. When I was in grade 11 or 12, I remember Amanda, Kelly, and I had gone downtown Vancouver. So I live in Vancouver, British Columbia. And we went downtown, and the building is still there, right on Hastings Street, Church of Scientology. And I remember walking by, and there was this guy there, and he's like, hey, girls. And we were like, hey. And he's like, you want to learn about something super cool? You want to learn about something that's so enlightening? And I don't remember all the details anymore, because I seriously be old now, and this was in grade 11 or 12, grade or 1987, 88 kind of thing, maybe 89. And so we went into this place, and he separated us immediately. He tried to move us all into 3 different rooms. I left. I walked out. Amanda walked out with me. Kelly stayed in, and we were like, oh, what the fluff. And I remember sitting outside going, I'm super uncomfortable with this. I am super uncomfortable. And Kelly came out not long after, maybe 10 minutes, and she was like, what the fuck was that? And it was just, they just started talking to you about all the super cool things. Do you understand what this is? Do you know what this is? Do you want to look at what this e-meter is? And all this stuff. And it just creeped us right out. And luckily we were smart enough to be able to just keep on keeping on and not get drawn into that.
Yeah, totally.
That's my little story about Scientology. Also, though, I had a really good friend who was part of my spiritual experience, Susan Kay, who has passed over many, many years ago now. But she dabbled in Scientology. She was also the one that didn't believe in spirit guides. It was the weirdest thing. She totally didn't believe in spirit guides, and she dabbled a little bit in Scientology. Anyway, so we talked about how the Church of Scientology, founded in 1954 by L. Ron Hubbard, brought in all these Tom Cruise, like I said, John Travolta, et cetera, brought all these people in. And their beliefs are Scientology teaches that humans are essentially spiritual beings. Okay, we kind of teach that. But they call them the thetans who have lived past lives. Okay, we believe in that too, just saying. They believe in the concept of auditing, a practice designed to help individuals confront and overcome past traumas.
Hmm.
Oh, okay. So, in the spiritual world, man, do we not talk a lot about inner child work, soul retrieval, cord cutting, past lives, traumas? We do. So I think now we can see a little bit about why I say this one is one of the closest to our spiritual beliefs.
And as we're talking about that, are you looking at my camera, how it's gone all weird?
Yes, it's like don't say bad things, Tara. Don't say bad things. Yeah. So, it's important to approach religious topics with care and respect for individual beliefs and multiple credible sources, including. I just want to say to you, there is a lot of unethical stuff going out there, and that's what I'm focusing on today. This is no shade if you are a Scientologist. I don't have to believe what you believe, and you don't have to believe what I believe, and these are my opinions guided by facts that I have found. Fair enough. I am I don't believe in organized religion, never have. But a lot of people don't believe in angels and don't believe in talking to loved ones on the other side, and that's fair enough too, and I respect that for them. What do they practice? So, members practice in auditing sessions using an e-meter, which is said to measure the spiritual state of individuals. Scientology has a hierarchy structure that various levels of spiritual advancement. So they do. They have captains, they have lieutenants, they have all this wording that makes you go, "What the fluff?" And that's very different from us. We have, students and practitioners and mentors.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a flow, right? It's just kind of like a flow. So here are some of the most commonly reported and well documented allegations against Scientology. This is where you guys are going to see the difference. And I think you will really understand why I'm bringing this up because there is such huge potential for one cray cray, out of control person to take their whole ideology and belief systems and try to throw it at someone, and they will always snag a few. Always. It is that spider's web that comes out and goes bling and will always snag a few. So, Scientology, this is what I'm talking about, but you can probably put some of this to the other cults that I talk about in the Patreon. Right. And there's some very interesting ones, guys. Okay. So, harassment of critics and former members. Scientology has a long-standing policy known as fair game. I hate that right there. Fair game. Originally stated by founder L. Ron Hubbard, which allowed critics and perceived enemies to be deprived of property or injured by any means, or sued, lied to, or destroyed. What in the F is that? What is the F in that? Like, what hello? So, former members and journalists have reported intense harassment. This is well documented. You can go and Google this and see Leah and there's other names that came up. I can't remember right now. But you can go and look this up and see what they actually do. So, former members and journalists have reported intense harassment, including surveillance, lawsuits, smear campaigns, and even stalking. Critics like journalist Paulette Cooper and filmmaker Alec Gibney, creator of Going Clear, described being followed, sued, and intimidated. They will stalk you. They will hang out in front of your house. They will follow you in groups too, like mob mentality. Disconnection policy. Members are sometimes instructed to disconnect from anyone. There's the isolation thing again, right? Friends, family, or others who are critical of Scientology. This policy has split families, often permanently. I believe Leah Remney's family, and please forgive me if I am saying her name wrong. You can let me know in the comments if I am. I believe her mother and sister, I could be wrong with the sister, but her mother for sure stayed in there. Like, she left, but they stayed. She grew up in it from a child.
Wow.
Critics argue it's a form of emotional control or coercion. Absolutely it is. Absolutely it is. Financial exploitation. Scientology courses and auditing sessions can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars over time. You can't say that about our work.
Oh,
Maybe hundreds, but we're not, you know what I mean? Members are often encouraged or pressured to make large financial donations, sometimes taking out loans or maxing out credit cards.
wow.
High level teachings like those involving the story of Inu are only accessible after significant financial investment. So, holding back your advancement, your leveling up until you pay a certain amount of money and then you can have the story? No, no.
Math would say.
Abuse in the Sea Org. So, the Sea Organization, Sea Org, is a dedicated group within Scientology whose members sign billion-year contracts.
What?
Dafa, billion-year contracts and often live communally with strict rules. Numerous ex-members report harsh working conditions, extremely low pay, sometimes under $50 a week, and physical or psychological abuse. Some have claimed they are disciplined or confined for expressing dissent.
Wow.
And I remember again, you need to find, you guys, the stuff on Leah, and I know I'll have in the notes where to find some of her information, but for real, you need to go and follow this one is crazy, and it's happening today. They are still fully functioning and they get tax credits for the US government. What's up, US government? Like, for real. So, use of confidential auditing information. So remember, auditing is that technique they use to see where your spiritual level is. During auditing the form of spiritual counseling, members disclose personal and sensitive information. There are allegations that some of this information has been used to manipulate or intimidate members who consider leaving or speaking out. Aggressive litigation, and this is very common and commonly known. Scientology is known for using lawsuits to silence critics and ex-members. The church has filed hundreds of lawsuits, sometimes overwhelming individuals or organizations with legal costs to deter criticism. What's the easiest way to go after someone? Break them. Broke them. Broke them. Broke them. Make them broke. Lack of transparency and accountability. So, despite being granted tax exempt religious status in the US, the church is often criticized for lacking financial transparency and allegedly using its status to avoid scrutiny. It's tax exempt. They have all these wealthy actors, actresses, artists, musicians that are a part of this that have, bottomless pits. So these guys literally use them. And there is a story, and I didn't do the deep dive into this one. I started to, and then I kind of ran out of time. But the person who is running Scientology right now, Church Scientology, is missing his wife.
Oh, like she's gone missing?
She's gone missing. And when Leah was trying to find out where she was, and it was at someone's wedding, I think it was at Tom Cruise and um, Katie Holmes' wedding, she was like, and that, you know how long ago that was now, but she was like asking questions like, where is so and so? And no one would say a word. And I don't know if she's been found. I was going to do that deep dive. So, maybe that's something I'll do for Instagram, and I'll put something in there about that, and if I have time. So,
Yes, his
no,
he's want to know.
right? Like,
Mhm.
what the heck? And how does this happen? Like basically out in the open. Like,
That
there's
sounds like
legal
something
stories.
wrong with you, right? Like it's just one day they're gone.
But the whole Church of Scientology itself, how is there not like more being done? It's because they're feeding the coffers of people, whether it's
Yeah.
congressmen or senators or dare I say it? No, I'm not going to say it. We won't go down that road. But they're feeding people, right? They're bribing people. They're saying, "Hey, turn the blind eye. Hey, I'll donate to your cause if you don't pay attention to this." So that brings us to, how can we as ethical, spiritual, and metaphysical practitioners ensure that we don't fall into these traps, or we don't be perceived like we are trying to start one of these traps? Because you see, online, all these soul entrepreneur groups and all these spiritual guru groups and all these things. And we even have our own group, Empowering Intuitive Souls. And how do we make sure that we are being as ethical, and we are also paying attention to the other groups around us and being able to call them out? Well, one of the ways is to encourage open dialogue, like foster an environment where questioning and discussion are welcome. If you have questions about what we're offering, guys, if you feel like, hey, I don't know, this feels weird to me, or why is it that there's one course after another, ask. Ask. If you don't like our answers, fair game. Oh, God, I just used their phrase. Fair. Right? Fair. You don't have to, but ask the questions. We are happy, and any good ethical medium would be happy, or ethical energy practitioner, or whatever metaphysical spiritual worker would be happy to answer your questions easily and effortlessly without sounding like they are trying to, coerce you. Promote inclusivity. Avoid isolating followers and supporting and their support networks. You make sure you're not saying, we talked about this today. Hey, your partner is not so good for you, get out. There's ways of being able to do that, to foster it in a way that is able to move you forward. Whether the message is true, maybe you do have to get out of this relationship, but it's not about cut everyone out of your life, cut everything out. It's about taking a look at yourself. It's about really stepping into your power, right? And being like, okay, you know what? None of this stuff that's around me, and it's okay if none of the stuff around you isn't working for you. If Naren comes to you and says, "Hey, you know what, baby?" She would never say baby, but anyway, "Hey, if everything is around you is just not suiting you, you can step away from it." That's not isolation. That's not saying you can't ever go back, you can't talk to these people anymore. It's giving you the free will choice to look at your situation and be like, "Okay, it's my personal responsibility to find space here that sits well with me and resonates with me. It's my responsibility. If I don't like these people," and we talk about cutting cords, Nan, right? We talk about the cutting cords and all that stuff. And cutting cords doesn't mean that you can't rebuild a cord with someone.
Yeah, 100%.
Reason, season, lifetime.
Well, and cutting cords is a lot about bringing your energy back to you and sending their energy to them, really, so you can function from a place of whole, right?
Exactly. And the other thing is practice, or stay transparent.
Yeah.
A good practitioner will be open about our beliefs and practices, right? This is what spirit shows me. This is how I choose the work. If you like the way I choose the work, come and do a class with me. Come and get a reading with me. Come and sit with me. Come break bread with me. I love our Sunday dinners, the second Sunday of the month at the First United Spiritualist Church. I love the potlucks. Come and chill with us. You don't have to give us anything. Maybe a dessert with chocolate. A dessert with chocolate. But be open about our beliefs and practices, and ensure clarity on the finances. That's one of the things I see a lot right now, is that everyone's like, click here. And then you click and it will be like, join my class for like $555, because somehow 555 is the number that they got. And then it'll be, but wait, there's more. Fight and join this part, and wait, there's more. I'm not saying to not be an entrepreneur in the work, and I'm not saying, you guys, when you're going to look at different practitioners and things like that, that if someone says, hey, click here for something more or whatnot, that's necessarily a bad thing. What I'm saying to you is, where's the integrity? What are you actually getting at this? Is it just like a Ginsu knife kind of commercial with, but wait, there's more, you will get like a double-bladed edge, blah, 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 right? So look at the integrity behind it. And, we as practitioners, Nan, practice accountability, right? I check in with my community. Hey, is everyone liking where we're going with this? Does this feel like it's a good vibe? I run a whole beautiful group it's called the Spirit Essence Collective. And I'm blessed to have these beautiful souls, Nan being a part of it, that work with me to raise visibility for ourselves, to showcase the goodness that we are and what we have. And, I check in every once in a while and be like, hey, how we doing? How we doing? Are we vibing? Are we all feeling the same check? I love that. And I think that every practitioner should do that, not only if they have a little offshoot community that they run, we'll call it the psychic hotline, but if they have, practitioners or groups that they're in or anything like that, check in. Be like, are we still on the same vibe? I think that's important. What about you?
I think so too.
Continuously educate yourself too. That's another thing. Not only as a practitioner, right? but because practitioners are continuously learning and developing as well, but also as someone who is coming to have a service, to maybe it's a session, maybe it's a class, maybe it's mentorship, right? Continuously look into the people. It is your responsibility to do a little research on the person, right? And to be able to discern the good, the bad, and the ugly. And because, there's always going to be someone that doesn't like something about someone. So you have to be able to be like, okay, that's 15 things that are wrong with this person and 1 that's right and 3 that they aren't sure. Okay, that wouldn't be someone I'd be like prone to go to, right? Even if you love their message. But if you looked over here, and of course now in the day and age of social media canceling and people liking something, then going to social media and then everyone flies in and gives you all, 0 on the Yelp or whatever it is, right? Google reviews. But the other thing is, if you know a practitioner, I had a woman call me last week, and she's literally like, "You've been referred to me. I have this situation I want to talk to you about, and you were referred to me." That's a great way, right, to find someone. Is ask your friends, ask people, and then you do your responsible homework on it. Um, we're coming to our close soon, so it's important to recognize that not all leaders are inherently malicious. Some may begin with pure intentions but lose their way. It happens. Even in our little communities, you'll see someone kind of tootle off in a way, and you're like, "Where'd that person be going? What they doing, man? What are they doing?" And then they'll find their way back. Right? They'll find their way back. Sometimes they won't, but they'll find their way back. There are also alternative viewpoints that suggest not all cult-like structures are harmful and can provide community and support. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
When you guys go and read, if you're in the Patreon and you go and read what I've put in there, you're going to see one thing that stands out. All of the cults wanted communal living. They wanted everyone in one place. Okay? One place. However, even in these cases, the importance of ethics remains paramount. And as we wrap up today's discussion, remember that the journey of spiritual growth should always be rooted in integrity, respect, and a commitment to the well-being of all involved, including ourselves as practitioners. There'll be some people that come in that have a little bit too much what's the word I'm looking for? Expectation of what we should be giving.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, I agree with you. Um, so I've got in, like I said, in the Patreon. I am going to put something in IG too as well. So there should be something in there today that drops that gives you a little more kind of understanding of some cults. But we would love to hear your thoughts on this subject. So drop us a line in IG, follow us, give us notes wherever you are following us. If it's Empowering Intuitive Souls, go and check out that Patreon, guys. We give early episodes. We do shout outs, which we're going to do in 2 seconds here. We're going to do a shout out to Lucy N. So we're going to give her a little tiny bit of a something, something. And then we also have those extra little pieces we put in on top of the tea that we spill. Intuitive development classes, intuitive exercises for you guys to do, messages. We do all of that, and we do a Q&A in there. So go check out our Patreon at Spirit Angels and Guides. Oh my, you will not be disappointed.
Wow, that's a pretty heavy episode today. That's a lot to unpack, hey?
And do you see why I felt it was like it was important and interesting at the same time? And it really did relate to the work we do.
Yeah, and we've talked about that on this podcast previously, right? Like there's ethics and integrity. There's some people that do the work we do that don't function under that. And you could see how there's a direct alignment to cults. Like, yeah.
For real. And the more I read about it, the more I was like, oh, I can associate this with this. It was just interesting all around. And I thought, and when you see some of them, the 12 tribes, and weirdly enough, the other thing that I noticed was Christianity was always mingled in there somewhere.
Yes, yeah.
If they were not completely like Ron L. Hubbard, right? Or L. Ron Hubbard, excuse me. His was straight up from whatever. But again, it just makes me feel like we got to be cautious on this stuff. So, on that note, my friends, I hope I have not deterred you from going and getting this session. And if you have questions about anyone, especially in the collective, the Spirit Essence Collective on the website, Nan's there, Paula Gill's there, Angel's there, Christine, Darren, these are all handpicked by me. I know the work they do. I know their ethics. I know the beautiful, authentic selves. And I would recommend them highly, highly, highly all day, every day. So, Lucienne, I almost said her last name. Lucienne, what you got for her, Nan?
All right. So I'm going to just pull some cards here. Well, pull a card. And, oh, interesting. Okay. So she has come up with a frog. And a lot of times people relate frog to good luck. That's very, very traditional sort of thing for frog. But this particular card is coming up about releasing what no longer serves you. Think about it. Frogs only move forward. They can't jump backwards. So this is really about releasing toxins, releasing unnecessary clutter in your life, releasing maybe even relationships that no longer serve you, and leaning into the place of being blessed and what around you that you can celebrate and sit within gratitude for. This is about green is a very lucky color. So bring in that frog luck, bring in the intention, even around earth energy, working with a bit of earth energy, because frog for me is very much earth and grounded. So I feel like it's going to be a good time for you as long as you can set those boundaries and lean into what serves your higher calling.
Oh, I love that for Lucy. Here's something interesting. You said frog means good luck. And remember in our June Spirit Scopes, I talked about how dragonfly meant good luck to me?
Yeah.
I pulled the dragonfly card for her.
Oh, I love that.
So there is this high vibe that this is a good time for you, Lucy, and it says change. So be open. Be open to opportunities. Be open to new perspectives. Be open to abundance of whatever it is, knowledge, finances. Whoever says no to abundance and finances, but abundance in whatever it is that you need, be open to it. I really feel that this has the momentum that you've been looking for. And although it feels like you kind of get into this moments where you feel like you're kind of pigeonholed, they're saying to you, it's okay, boo boo, it's okay. Be in that pigeonhole for as long as you need to because you know you can get out. You have the ability to change the perspective, to change the course of action and the narrative. So as you are being filled with all this like good luck and charm and froggies move forward. I did not know froggies couldn't move back. I feel like I did know that, but it always surprises me when someone says it. But dragonflies are, just this beautiful iridescent kind of creature that just you could like seriously just sit and watch at. And also dragonflies to me have big eyes.
Yeah.
And for me, that means take a good look around. There's good things happening. There's good things happening. Embrace them. So Lucy N, thank you for being a part of our Patreon. We love that. And we're going to bring that to a close. Everyone, make sure you are following us on all our streaming platforms, Apple, Spotify, Podbean, wherever you can find us, go and find us and 5-star us. That's 5 stars for me, 5 stars for Nan. There's no such thing as 10 stars, but blend them together and it will be powerful. Share us with your friends. Go and follow us on Instagram because we do things in there, including choosing someone once a month to have a Spirit Scope reading with us on the podcast. We do the Spirit Scopes the first podcast of every month. And so you go in there, drop your name, follow us, and put in that you are what your birth month is, and then we will do that for you. And of course, check out all of us on the Spirit Essence Collective website, page, website. Spirit Essence by Diana and Empowering Intuitive Souls is our Facebook group where Nan and everyone go in there, as well as myself, and we provide positive information, clarity, development. That's what we do.
A healthy community, non-cult like.
Non-cult like. Okay, I love that. Nan, thank you so much, beautiful. We'll see you guys.
Thanks, Tara.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on this journey into the wonderfully weird and metaphysical.
If you loved what you heard, don't forget to follow us for more insights and behind the scenes fun.